bunch of fires going on right now.
In West Baltimore.
It's crazy. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 fires.
Flames tear down homes.
It started right in the second house right there, and then it kept chaining down.
The first fire started in the 1300 block of North Calhoun. 3 three-story brick row homes. 2 were vacant. The third had occupants who weren't at home.
You got people that use drugs that go in these buildings and smoke that stuff and, set stuff on fire.
The fire spread across the street. 5 more homes up in smoke. Then
we watching both fires get put out in this block. Now we got a bad disaster going on over in the next block.
2 blocks over on North Carey Street.
You got about 300 firemen here.
Another 4-alarm fire. Nearly 100 firefighters and 40 pieces of equipment on the scene.
I was a little frightened, but it wasn't really all that scary.
This time, 2 homes burning, 1 vacant, the other occupied by this woman.
I got phone calls from my friend.
You don't fix them up, they burn them up.
Right now, there's been no reports of anyone injured, firefighters or civilians, and it's too early at this juncture to know exactly what caused the fire.
At that moment, our cameras caught this woman being carried away, overcome by smoke.
Call it a collision of crabs and college football.
This is a crab bowl.
There were burgers, beverages, and of course, some fired up fans.
Let's go, Berlin!
Navy's gonna win.
For just the 21st time since 1905,
It's gonna be a hell of a game.
the Maryland Terrapins and Navy midshipmen met in the Crab Bowl Classic.
It's always a lot of fun for bragging rights.
I would call it a rivalry. You can't call it anything less.
Some fans saw supremacy in the sky.
Do you see the sign? Look, what does it say? Be there for the comeback.
Others were busy fortune-telling the football future with pregame predictions.
28-23 Navy.
27-17 Maryland.
21-14 Navy.
Naval Academy graduate Robert Schneider took time for a tribute.
This game means everything to me.
Waiting in a sea of red, surrounded by foes, Schneider stood out, and so did his service.
I feel nothing but respect and pride from these people.
But Schneider wasn't the only one to take his hat off.
Yeah, I got nothing but respect for the men in white, men and women in white walking down that aisle. Once the game starts and the whistle blows, respect's out the window.
Beaver fever! The screams are as loud as the line is long.
Long wait, but fun. We've been singing and dancing and having fun.
And even the parents are being patient.
We can't wait.
But this line is just to get a wristband for a seat selection later. And as the day drags on,
Beaver fever.
the crowd builds
Justin! Beaver!
along with the delirium. There are Bieber lookalikes,
Baby.
Bieber tattoos,
The beaver.
Bieber signs,
Because he's so beautiful.
and Bieber songs. Lots of songs. And the occasional marriage proposal.
He's good and cute. Really cute.
Parents try to remain patient,
I love my daughter very much. What can I say?
but police and security grow frustrated from trying to control the crowd.
Get out of the way! I got a car!
Finally, after 5 o'clock and hours of waiting,
We've been here since about 2 o'clock.
We got here at like 8 a.m.
the gates open and fans are allowed in by a color-coded system
Too confusing.
and single-file line.
This is Trotter's Ridge Court.
In Catonsville Sunday,
Just chipping away at it.
neighbors spend the day digging out.
Maybe about 2 hours, maybe 3.
A couple hours.
It took me an hour and a half.
A day and a half after the snow, and the only sign of clearing came from these single tire tracks.
We're a cul-de-sac within a cul-de-sac, so there's only one way in and out of our development. So it has its pluses and minuses, and at this time, it's a minus.
It's called the Highfield subdivision, but today the snow's so high, it's tough to get in or out.
Taking the groceries down to the house with this. It's the only way we can do it, really.
Daniel Taylor is helping his mom slide home some snacks.
I had 8 people stuck at my house from being at the airport, and they ate me out of house and home.
Finally, just before 3 o'clock, the first plow comes through.
At least he didn't dump it here, so I'm grateful for that.
My brother came and helped, and Dave helped, so it's been, a group effort.
They're even understanding about the wait.
Well, there was a lot of snowfall, and there's a lot of roads to do.
And while they'd rather be doing something else,
I had plans on doing Christmas shopping all day yesterday and today, and
they're brushing off the storm as a minor nuisance that they'll clear up as neighbors.
A little bit more shoveling here. I'll be ready to go.
Stitch by stitch.
This is going to be a baby Afghan.
Each knitted or sewn seam slowly becomes a blanket of love or a little tote bag of good wishes.
We started with pillowcases.
This is the Tender Loving Care Circle.
This is so important.
A group with one mission, to simply offer some TLC.
Actually, the group started because I had leftover yarn from a project.
Anna Norris made her first baby hat about 6 years ago, then recruited her co-workers to make more.
And they said, oh, we'll help you.
Each item was donated to a children's hospital where they were given to the youngest, sickest patients.
These kids sometimes have illnesses that are very rare. They're going through lots of testing.
But the requests for more hats, more blankets, more everything kept growing.
Oh, this is my 5th pillow.
Luckily, so did the hands of volunteers.
This is my thing, crocheting.
Mariana Phillips just recently got hooked, but her interest in helping kids stems from a personal experience decades ago.
27 years ago, we knew a wonderful little boy who ultimately, unfortunately, died of leukemia.
For Donna Utz, the passion is much more personal.
Why do I do it? In memory of my daughter who didn't make it. That's why.
Each has her reasons and her own talent.
I've been sewing for a really long time.
And together, these 24 ladies gather in a church hall surrounded by heaps of fabric that they carefully cut into colorful scraps of comfort.
It's a very stressful situation, even as an adult, to be in the hospital. So for children, it's very comforting to have that blanket.
And today, Anna unloads box after box of blankets. One special delivery for the University of Maryland Children's Hospital, where inside the pediatric ward, 12-year-old Shantanya picks a new blanket of her very own with barely enough energy to point.
There's this really pretty blue and white and yellow one.
She has systemic lupus.
Her mom appreciates the gift and what it means.
When they brought the blanket in, her eyes lit up. She wasn't talking too much, but she smiled.
She knows that every warm touch is one hug closer to recovery.
It was a very welcome surprise.
Meanwhile, down the hall,
he woke up and here we were.
10-year-old Tyler gets a new blanket of his favorite color, green.
I like it.
Living with sickle cell anemia, he often gets high fevers, up to 108 degrees.
The first thing that he did yesterday when he woke up with the fever was grab his blanket and wrap himself.
And when the fevers break, he feels chilly. Only one thing can help.
Wrap myself in a blanket and a ball like this.
Back in the sewing circle, volunteers are already working on the next batch of blankets, in the hopes they too will bring healing not just for the kids fighting illness, but for the hearts that still hurt.
I know what it's like to have that child screaming
along with them.
I would hope that these children or their families understand, that it's about giving back.
Melinda Roeder, Fox 45, News at 10.